If you want to continue to follow our adventure, click subscribe. So you don't miss anything, click the bell notification. I'm a big history buff. As a matter of fact, when I was in school, I had considered getting into history, teaching history or something. I really like history, American history specifically, but I get into Roman history also. I like Roman history. But the thing is I'm not a big fan of just documented history. I'm a fan of, looky there, isn't that something? Look at that guy right there. I don't know, it might be too shadowed. There's a rabbit right there. He's made himself a little desk. I bet she just had babies and she's covering up her babies. I've seen that before. When they're not scared of you like that. Wow. She's starting to get a little nervous. I'm gonna try to. I can't tell if you see that or not, but I tried real hard so you can see that little rabbit. That was cool. Yeah, documented history to me is not that fascinating. I mean, of course I find it fascinating, but I am interested in the history in which I get to sit down and I get to think, okay, what happened here? And I get to make these little discoveries myself. When somebody else makes the discovery and is telling you about the discovery, you don't get that sense of connection with the people that were here. For example, here's a windmill. And I always like these windmills. And you can see that it's got a little pump it's trying to pump. Of course, it's not connected, but what that did was it pumped water. And you can get water out of these little faucets here. How did they dig that hole back there in the 1700s, 1800s? How long did it take? I always wanted to get into the mindset of folks. And so when you go to these popular museums, I went to Grant's Museum in Missouri. Grant had a farm there. Grant's Farm. Grant was the general that won the Civil War, and then he became president. And so he had a farm in Missouri. And I went there, and it was a guided tour museum. And it's neat, but you're learning it from somebody else. You're not learning these little things on your own. And so when you come to these little towns, and here's what I think happens, and you see this a lot in these little towns, is they're trying to bring in some tourist activity. This particular town has just put in a free campground for 3 days with free electric, free water, so you get to stay here. And then just within 2 blocks is this little museum tour. And so what I assume were trying to do was make a tourist attraction. Well, for whatever reason, it seems to me that they've stopped working on it. But you can still come around here and walk around. I just find it absolutely fascinating when you can do this self-guided tour thing. And you may never get the answers of what this particular thing was or that particular thing was. Have you ever had a lathe? I did lathe work, and I had a machine that did lathe work. It had a motor on it. But back then, they would have had to use some sort of foot pump with their tools. And then you think, well, my goodness, look at that building. It's got a concrete coating on it. Oh, just so neat to me. And then there's this depot. There's a train track that runs over there, but apparently it ran over here next to this depot. There's a depot here. Welcome to Friends and Family, Santa Fe. Absolutely incredible. And see, you can tell right here that this is redone. This is this plastic wood that they've started producing here in the last 20 years or so. That's not real wood. So they're trying to rebuild this using modern materials, which is a little disappointing, but that's all right. I understand what they're doing. And then you have to make everything handicap accessible, so that would have taken away from it. Man, the rabbits are crazy around here. But if you can dig down and really look behind what they're trying to build, I mean, they got this wagon, rubber wheels, bolted down to a piece of concrete, but try to dig down underneath that. That's what I find absolutely intriguing. They got a well here, but it's not a real well. So, they tried to remanufacture some of it, But then you know, like that house I was telling you, that house has not been remanufactured. It's still in its original condition. Still has the wood shingles on it. This building here still has the wood shingles on it, starting to fall off. The concrete may have, I would guess the concrete in between the wood has probably been redone, but it's still really neat. I mean, this is what I like. And you can see the screen, you know, look how old that screen is. And then you see the paint chipping off. You have to ask yourself, I wonder if that's lead paint. You know, could it be old enough that it's still lead paint? When they outlaw lead in 70s or 80s, I guess. But the reason I wanted to bring you out here, see that's all the people who provided help to it. They got little plaques of everybody's name. Another wagon over here. But here's what I wanted to show you right here. This is neat. This is very neat. I've never seen anything like this, but it's an underground house. And so if you can look in the window, which I know that you're never going to be able to see, if you can look in the windows, they've got a table in there. I've never seen an old underground house like this before. And this is just really neat to me. This would have been a great storm shelter for tornadoes, but also would have kept you cool in the summertime. In Iowa, you see some form of an underground house. I mean, it's like the back wall is underground, the front wall isn't. That was a great idea. Of course, they got a tin roof on it, which would have been redone, because I would suspect that they had the wood shingles like they did on this house when they originally did it. So just because I'm not going to the big fancy tourist attraction centers, I like coming to these non-big tourist attraction centers. I like coming to these places where I can make up a story in my head based on what I see. I'm not saying I made up a story. I made up a scenario, I guess is a better way to put it, in my head. Just the history of itself is just, I love it. Thanks for watching. Click like if you like the video, and happy travels.